Hello, welcome to Invictus Motors for one of my favorite 911s in terms of aesthetics and styling. That is the 911 991 Turbo. Before we get into the crux of this video, please press that subscribe button and press like, because we've just reached 600 subscribers and we need your support to continue growing this channel. Let's hear it start. So from the get-go, my first experience and well, I would say my first impression from the get-go on the inside is that the 991 is a much more improved car overall on the interior and the exterior styling, as opposed to the, I would say, the dated 997 interior and exterior, because this was put on a completely new platform and a new chassis, whereas the 997, which is the predecessor turbo, was put on the 996 platform. You know, even on a bumpy road that we are on right now, it's a comfortable daily-able car. You know, a car that you can get in and out of as you would expect. Day in and day out. You wouldn't have to, you know, break your back as if you're getting in a GT3 or a GT3 RS, and we've had both the GT3 and the GT3 RSs previously in stock. So, you know, definitely from the get-go, a completely you know, comfortable, neutral experience being in the turbo, as opposed to, you know, some of the other examples that I've just mentioned. But what's completely astonishing about the turbo is the fact it can produce performance figures that are absolutely crazy. It's, you know, this is able to produce circa 510 brake horsepower, and this is out of, you know, this is out of the world, because the Carrera S 991, the naturally aspirated 3.8 litre flat 6 engine, that produces 395 brake horsepower to be exact. So this being twin turbocharged, having the 3.8 litre flat 6 engine producing 510 bhp is phenomenal. There's no other way to describe that. And from a torque perspective, it produces 620 Newton meters of torque. And really, this car comes alive in the 0 to 60 because it is able to do it in 3.1 seconds, and astonishingly the Turbo S is able to do it in 2.9 seconds, which Porsche are, according to many magazines, underestimating, because some of the magazines or journalists were able to do 2.6 seconds for the 0 to 60 miles per hour. So, you know, credit to Porsche for actually not overestimating, but as a matter of fact underestimating. And still, I mean, if you're dailing the turbo, you could easily get pretty good MPG out of it as well. I mean, you could average about 29 miles per gallon. This is currently retailing at £75,000, and the mileage is 60,000 miles. Whereas the Turbo S, with probably similar miles, you're looking at, you know, close to £90,000. These have really gone up in value purely because of how rare it has become to get cars such as these, you know, whether that be the GTS or the GT3 or even the 996 or the 997 turbos. I mean, it's just become harder now that we are in January 2022 to actually find good stock and continually, you know, be able to have a good flow of stock turning over. And one of the reasons this is the case is purely down to the fact that there aren't as many newer cars entering the market, and I guess that just opens up a completely new can of worms, which I won't be discussing, because my main objective is to actually cover this turbo, this 991 turbo, the Gen 1 turbo, and pressed any of the buttons, and I haven't, you know, done anything other than just drive it as I would, and the sound it produces is beautiful. I mean, right now we're going down these windy countryside roads. Just got to be careful. The back still went there a little bit. Not sure if you could capture it and see on the camera. So this has a huge advantage in weather and in slippery conditions such as this, that it's an all-wheel drive vehicle. And I've had a bit of a history with this vehicle, because previously this was owned by a professional football player that played for Nottingham County, and we actually got it from him. It went to our first customer who was absolutely looking forward to a 991 turbo, but unfortunately there were a couple of things, such as the high pressure fuel pump was giving a faulty code onto the ECU, which needed replacing, and after we replaced that, we were actually still getting the exact same error, and we actually realized that the high pressure fuel pump needed replacing, but also there's actually a fuse board here underneath the carpet, you know, below the feet of, you know, the passenger footwell, that needed replacing. So in terms of spec, this pretty much on the interior has, you know, all the essential specs that one would want, because this is what attracted me to this vehicle when Wes Thomas had it, the Notts County professional football player. The sports steering wheel with paddle shift, cruise control. It's got the PDK gearbox, which I think is a must-have, because, you know, the manual can be an extremely engaging car and rather uncomfortable when you just want to cruise along. So the PDK is definitely, dual clutch gearbox PDK is definitely the option to have. It's got the Chrono Sport Plus package with a Sport Plus button here, PASM, the front axle lift, and you know, overall some of the other essentials are definitely a must-have. Is the sport seats, which are also you know, I think 18-way adjustable, and they program in with the rear folding mirrors, so you can actually program the two keys to two different users, so that the seats can actually adjust. And let's finish it off with the Bose, the mobile telephone connectivity, both for your music, telephone call, as well as your navigation connectivity. So let's get it singing, really. We've got sports on, PASM on, and we've got a nice run up here. Many people complain that the turbos don't produce as good as a sound as the naturally aspirated. I'll have to disagree, because I won't comment on that. They need to come in and probably take some lessons, not from me, but, you know, somebody professional out there. Because this right now to me sounds fantastic, sounds phenomenal. In terms of the exterior spec, this has the Edition 3 20-inch turbo alloys, which comes in, and the exterior is actually in basalt black metallic. It's got the parking sensors, the Porsche active dynamic engine mounts, and from a styling point of view, I mean, the turbo just looks so exotic, you know, so eye-catching. This is the, and you know, the 911 to have, and this marries up extremely well with the history of the 911s, because the first 911 introduced in 1975 at the Paris Motor Show was the 930, and the second one was the 964, and they were commonly known as the Widowmakers because of the turbo lag it had. And obviously the technology has been so refined, and you know, you haven't got those issues that, you know, when the turbo kicks in, you know, you could potentially be looking at, you know, death territory. So definitely, you know, yeah, I mean, definitely not that kind kind of analog authentic performance, but you know, it's more refined. Overall it is a much better and improved you know, 911 turbo as opposed to the earlier ones. And I've got to say that, you know, overall these 911s really hold value, and in some cases appreciate in value extremely well. Just over this 4-month ownership period by the current customer, this has actually gone up in value by about, you know, £4,000, and that is really phenomenal, because the cost of maintenance over the course of, let's just say, you know, a year on something like this, I mean, you could budget about £400-500 for it. Let's put it in Sport Plus. Sound. I'm not sure if you could actually hear that in the microphone, but absolutely phenomenal sound on the downshift. That burble that you get is, I mean, it's not something that I can actually put in words. It is beautiful. And the other really nice thing about it is once you put it in Sport Plus, there's spoiler at the front that retracts out, and then sort of as soon as you take it off Sports Plus, it actually retracts back in. It's a really nice thing to have, you know. So hopefully I've just covered a bit of the 911 991 turbos, you know, just sort of giving you my opinion and just my impression and my perspective of it. I hope you have enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to you know, subscribe, like and comment, and stay tuned for the next few videos, because I've got some pretty interesting cars. We've got a 911 991 Carrera S comparison versus a GTS, and you know, what a way to start my day, you know, starting off with something like this. So thank you for all the support. We are currently at about 600 subscribers, so we need, you know, all the support we can get to continue to improve and to continue to do better, really. So thank you. You know, looking forward to seeing you on the next video. See you.